News at noon. Fox 4 News starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Noviello. A Wylie man in custody for taking part in the Capitol riot threatened to shoot his children if they reported him. That's according to the arrest affidavit. Guy Reffitt is accused of obstruction of justice and unlawful entry in connection with the insurrection at the Capitol. These photos are from the arrest affidavit. According to that affidavit, his son told investigators that Reffitt admitted to storming the Capitol. He then told the family that he had to delete his GoPro footage because the FBI was watching him. His wife also told investigators that her two children said their dad threatened them with words to the effect of, "If you turn me in, you're a traitor, and you know what happens to traitors? Traitors get shot." Reffitt was arrested and is now in custody in Fannin County. There is new and disturbing view of the U.S. Capitol riot. The reporter from The New Yorker shared this video from inside the Capitol building. He walked in pretending to be part of and sympathetic to the crowd. You can see one man sitting in the vice president's chair. Someone tells him to get out. He responds, quote, "They can steal an election, but we can't sit in their chairs." The video also captures people rummaging through desks and posing for photographs. Well, it is the week of the inauguration, and the nation is bracing for more armed protests, not only in D.C., but really around other state capitals across the U.S. 2.5 times the number of troops have already been brought into Washington for this transfer of power. That figure, of course, in comparison to prior years. Fox's Lauren Blanchard in Washington with the latest.
Standing watch in D.C. by Inauguration Day, 25,000 National Guard members will be protecting the Capitol, White House, and federal property, along with Secret Service and D.C. law enforcement. Defense officials say they are vetting all of the National Guard troops out of concern of an insider attack.
We want to make sure that everybody in this bubble of security that we're providing has the privilege to be there.
Already, there have been arrests of unauthorized people attempting to get through checkpoints. One woman impersonating an officer. On Sunday, a man with a pistol without a license. Another man was found on Friday with 500 rounds of ammunition in his vehicle and a loaded gun. D.C.'s mayor has asked people not to travel to the area and say they are planning for everything.
Our police department, working with our federal law enforcement partners and the United States Army, quite frankly, also has a plan to pivot if we have any attacks in our neighborhoods.
The threat of armed protests in other capital cities still remains, despite a calmer than expected weekend.
I think the deterrent value of what we've seen over the last couple of days has had an impact.
Meanwhile, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will resign her Senate seat on Monday in an op-ed calling her time serving California an honor. And the Biden inauguration team scrapping plans to have the president-elect ride Amtrak from Wilmington to D.C. due to increased security. President Trump is planning a busy last few days of his presidency. Between now and noon on Wednesday, he is expected to announce 50 to 100 commutations and pardons. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 4 News. Steve, back to you.
Here in Texas, the state capitol in Austin was closed over the weekend. DPS increased security there and at the nearby governor's mansion. Even though the legislature is supposed to be in session, the Capitol building will be closed at least through Inauguration Day Wednesday. There were peaceful gun rights protests in Austin on Sunday. Some businesses in downtown Austin also preparing for the possibility of protests this week by closing their doors and boarding up their windows. Today is a federal holiday commemorating the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King. Because of the pandemic, most events are online, but there are some in-person events. The city of Dallas's annual parade was canceled because of COVID-19. Today, the Next Generation Action Network organization marched through the streets of Dallas in King's honor. The group marched from Holmes Street in South Dallas to the Martin Luther King Center. Participants were asked to wear masks and to socially distance. In Arlington, on this day of national service, volunteers are celebrating the legacy of Dr. King at a donation drive-thru. Volunteers at Colleyville Heritage High School also in service, collecting snacks and toiletry items to build a pantry for students in need. The organizers say they have received quite a bit of support from donors in the community and hope to make this an annual event honoring Dr. King's legacy. One of the first known cases of a more contagious variant of COVID-19 has has been detected here in North Texas, but there are many more cases likely of it. Dallas County has been sending samples for additional testing. One of those samples from a man in his 20s was confirmed to have SARS-CoV-2 variant B.1.1.7. That variant was, of course, first seen, you'll recall, in the United Kingdom, and it is only the third known case in Texas. The man who had it had not traveled out of the U.S. recently, which means there is probably community spread.
You know, certainly that's not a good thing. Given where we are at our already at our record high numbers of cases, record high numbers of hospitalizations. If we get this new variant now that's more easily spread, that can even further increase the numbers and the impact on our community.
This variant is believed to be 70% more contagious than the strain of COVID-19 that we have been seeing for several months. Because of that, experts think it will be the dominant strain of COVID-19 in the U.S. by March. The good news here, though, the strain not believed to be causing a more severe illness, and experts do think that the vaccines currently being rolled out are effective against it. But again, since it spreads so easily, health officials say it is even more important than ever to wear masks in public, to wash your hands, to social distance, and of course, to avoid crowds. The state of Texas will receive more than 330,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine this week. About 73,000 of them will be sent to the 4 biggest counties in North Texas. All of them are meant to be the first of 2 shots that people will get. The doses are going to go to the hubs and dozens of providers that are still just focused on vaccinating the 1A group. That's healthcare workers and people living in long-term care facilities. The state is also ordering about 500,000 doses intended as the second dose for people who got their first shot a few weeks ago. There is a new COVID-19 hotspot here in the United States as Arizona sees record numbers of infections and hospitalizations. Meantime, concern is rising as states attempt to meet the demand for COVID-19 vaccination. Fox's Jonathan Hunt has more from Arizona.
Arizona is in the grip of a crisis as the state records the highest COVID-19 infection rate in the U.S. The state is also now seeing the highest rate of hospitalizations, and public health officials are warning that intensive care units are on the brink of full capacity.
We're trying to remind people that this is extremely contagious.
Medical experts are pleading with those in Arizona to wear masks and stay home whenever possible. But despite the rising case numbers, Republican Governor Doug Ducey is resisting calls for a statewide lockdown.
For many families, lockdown doesn't spell inconvenience. It spells catastrophe.
As the virus continues to surge, states are struggling to keep up with the demand for the COVID-19 vaccine. Mass vaccination sites have launched in several states, at convention centers, Disneyland, and sporting venues like Dodger Stadium in LA.
120 vehicles are vaccinated potentially all at the same time.
Even though demand for the vaccine is high, supply is not, with many states saying they are concerned they could run out of doses in the coming weeks. Some are even worried that they won't have enough to distribute second doses to those who have already received their first shot. President-elect Biden has said vaccinations will be a top priority for his administration, promising to vaccinate 100 million Americans in 100 days. In Glendale, Arizona, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Sunshine being consumed by clouds this afternoon, and even a chance for rain in the forecast as we head toward the end of the week. Meteorologist Alberto Romero in with a look. How are you?
Hey, Steve, how's it going? Yes, we are definitely looking at the cloud cover working its way into North Texas. Some of our eastern counties still seeing a few breaks in the clouds. Right now, as we take a look at Fox 4 views, you can see the cloud cover over Texas Motor Speedway, Richardson at UT Dallas there, and then a few breaks for the folks in Canton and Cedar Creek. Temperatures close to that 60-degree mark. I think most of us will see the 60s later on this afternoon, but we do have some changes in the forecast that will bring seasonal temperatures back into the area, and also bring some rain chances into the area as well. As far as temperatures outside right now, mid to upper 50s. The areas with the breaks in the clouds already into the 60s. That'll be our eastern counties and our western counties. And as far as our weather breakdown here, the radar is quiet for us today, though. It'll be picking up activity on Tuesday, and we'll see some activity all the way through the remainder of the work week into the upcoming weekend. Cloud cover is here to stay. Rain chances return right after midnight or so tonight. We'll talk into further detail about what we can expect in just a few moments. Steve, back to you.
Coming up next on Fox 4 News at noon, an Arlington store clerk fatally shot in an early morning robbery over the weekend. Police believe a customer who left just before the deadly incident could help provide some clues. Next. Arlington police are looking for the person who killed a convenience store clerk before dawn on Sunday. The suspect has long hair and was captured on camera wearing a red cap and top. He walked into the Easy Mart at Barden and Matlock Roads in southeast Arlington around 3:30 in the morning. Investigators say he shot the clerk several times, then took some items from the store. The victim has been identified as Jordan Hightower by his family. A customer later found him dead. Easy Mart is offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to the shooter being arrested and convicted.
Well, the clouds have finally moved in, but we do have rain chances on the rise for North Texas. We'll break down what we can expect and just how much in your 4-1 forecast coming up next. Well, good afternoon. We have definitely noticed the cloud cover increasing for North Texas and also the breezy conditions as well as the pressure gradient begins to tighten just a little bit. Looking out towards Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, though, we can see the camera bouncing around just a little bit and the cloud cover pretty extensive over the area. 57 degrees right now, winds from the south-southeast at 18 miles an hour, gusting to around 24 to 25 or so. We can notice the humidity, the dew point temperature has climbed a little bit. That moisture will be increasing for the remainder of the day, leading to those rain chances we'll be seeing for the next couple of days with a few little disturbances in the forecast for North Texas. Our temperatures outside across the country, though, definitely cold across the northern plains where it is 18 degrees right now in Minot, North Dakota, 13 for the folks in Fargo, 46 Amarillo, 67 Del Rio, 67 as well out towards the folks in the Houston area. A little closer to home, 57 officially DFW Airport, and then our eastern counties are still seeing a few breaks in the clouds out towards Henderson, Anderson, Smith County, Van Zandt, where temperatures for them are in the 60s, and I think we may see a few more areas in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex see that 60, 61 degree mark later on this afternoon, but we will be returning back to seasonal tomorrow and Wednesday as we do have that disturbance coming on through, bringing our rain chances as well. The satellite and radar are really not much on the radar right now. That activity won't be increasing until later on tonight, overnight, mainly after midnight. We'll start seeing a few showers popping back up into the area. And even though we do have rain chances in the forecast for the next couple of days, it's not going to be a total washout. So no flash flooding concerns and also no severe weather concerns right now as we take a look at the forecast, though. Here's what we can expect, though, for the next 12 hours. The cloud cover will continue to increase. A few breaks in the clouds here and there will allow for most locations to see the low 60s for your afternoon high temperature. And then right around that midnight mark, we'll start seeing the rain chances increasing for North Texas. Rain chances not a total washout for Tuesday, only a 40% probability, a 30% chance on Wednesday. We're going to keep that low 30% chance on Thursday and then bump it up just a hair for Friday. It won't be until Sunday where we see our best rain chances. And even though we have a string of days here with a lot of rain in the forecast, it's not going to be heavy rainfall, relatively light rainfall, so only about ½ an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch for the I-35 corridor, increasing to about an inch, inch and a half or so the further east you go towards Louisiana. Your 7-day forecast, again, it looks ominous here with the rain chances for a good stretch of days, but again, it'll be rather light, so no flash flooding concerns. Our biggest rain chance is going to hold off until Sunday, where we do have a stronger system, more moisture, showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Some of those could potentially be strong, something to keep an eye on, though, as those temperatures rebound back to about 65 degrees. We'll have this forecast online, also on Facebook and Twitter, so you can go ahead and share it with your friends and family. Steve, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Coming up next on Fox 4 News at noon, one young North Texas woman kicked her way into an inauguration invite, even with guest list numbers limited by COVID-19 precautions.
911 Lone Star. Fox 4 to the rescue tonight.
A dog shelter in Joe Biden's home state of Delaware is celebrating No Ordinary Dog a few days before the inauguration. Fox's Chris DeMeo has the story.
With just 2 days until the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, the Delaware Humane Society, where he adopted his pup Major, threw an inauguration event for the soon-to-be first pet. Folks across the country tuning in to give Major a round of applause for being the first-ever rescue dog to live in the White House.
Congratulations to Major Biden.
The shelter also giving us an inside look at what Major was like as a puppy. The adorable German Shepherd was rescued along with his 5 siblings back in 2018. All the puppies were extremely sick, so the shelter posted a fundraiser looking for donations for their medical treatments.
Ashley Biden, Joe Biden's daughter, had seen the post and shared it with her father.
And the rest was history, with Major and Joe Biden forging a strong bond almost immediately.
Major was really calm, very, very well behaved, very, he just walked right by his side the whole time.
And during these polarizing times, shelter officials say a dog in the White House is something that transcends party lines.
Regardless, again, of your socioeconomic situation, your political affiliation, your race or ethnicity, dogs and cats are something that people can connect with.
The Biden's second German Shepherd, Champ, will also be joining Major at the White House, marking the first time in 4 years pets are back in the presidential home. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
The first woman to score a point in a major college football game was invited to Wednesday's inauguration. Sarah Fuller said it was an honor to be invited. She is a Wylie high school graduate who plays soccer at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. She made history by stepping in to help Vanderbilt's football team while it was dealing with a COVID outbreak. Live look outside as we head to break. Alberto is back with a final look at your forecast, which could include some rain. Stick around.
Fox 4 is all local. First at 9 o'clock with 2 full hours of local news, weather, and sports. Brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop NissanUSA.com.
Live look outside for you right now at our downtown Dallas tower cam. Sun probably going to be taken over by some clouds this afternoon with the possibility of rain, says Alberto Romero, as we head toward the end of the week.
Yeah, that's correct, Steve. The cloud cover has already infiltrated North Texas for the most part, though. We're still seeing a few breaks in the clouds here and there, but the rain chances won't be picking up until just about midnight tonight, though. And then even though we do have a pretty decent stretch of rain in the forecast here for the 7-day forecast, the rain will be rather light, though. No heavy rainfall, so no flash flooding concerns really for North Texas. And the rain chances are rather low, only about a 30% to 40% chance all the way through Friday, which means we're only going to be seeing about a ½ an inch of rainfall total for North Texas. So again, no flash flooding concerns, no severe concerns. Steve?
All right, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. TMZ coming up next. For News Anytime, head to fox4news.com.